Hi, I'm James, Yacht Tech, and I know it's been a while, and I apologize for that, but we've been busy. We usually do long walkthrough videos that some people find boring, but many of you seem to like them. This is not going to be a long walkthrough video. It's going to be probably a 10-15 minute video, and we also usually don't do sales videos. I've been out of town, and Mark and Jay have been here, and we had a sales discussion the other morning about we need to get this boat online. We need to tell people what it is. I am on Silver Spray, hull number 1 of the 63s, and a broker said to me the other day they were turned off, or their clients were turned off by the fact that this was hull number 1. Don't be distracted by the fact that this is 6301. It may be the first 63, but they were building 55s and 60s out of this molder long before they built this boat. In 2008 this boat was started. 2010 it was delivered, and it was built by the yard in China when things were slowing down. There were only 2 boats being built, and this was one of them. And because things were slow, they had laid off a lot of their staff, and only the best craftsmen were in the employ there, and it shows. When you walk around this boat and look and see what it is, it's amazing. The craftsmanship is truly amazing. This came along because of the 62. It has that aft pilot house look. It is not a 62, and I did a long video about the boat. If you want more information on the 63, you should go and look at my other video, which is about an hour and a half long. This is going to be short-ish. The grain on this boat is vertical, as you see. It's very traditional. The grain and the wood is clear. The contrast is good, and basically it's because the owner has really taken care of the boat. It only has 1,700 hours on the main engine. The blinds have always been kept closed. The UV has been kept out of the boat, and the wood is beautiful. In the galley, we've got granite, very nice granite, gas cooktop, electric oven. This is a full-size Sub-Zero refrigerator. This is a full-size Sub-Zero freezer. Lawn seal flooring, which some people love, some people don't, but the reality is lawn seal flooring looks like it's brand new forever, basically. You can drop stuff on it, it doesn't dent, it doesn't stain, so it still looks like it did when it was new. Trash compactor, full-size dishwasher. Seagull water filter here. It is really a lovely, lovely galley, lovely boat. Okay, we're going to walk through this way. Breaker panel, starboard side, I'm not going to go into all the details. If you want them, you can probably look at my other 63 video. There are 2 generators on this boat. We'll see them when we get down below. Victron system, I can see the GX touch display in there. We'll talk about that in the Lazarette too. Headliners are champagne suede headliners, similar to the other 63 that we did. Master stateroom, again, big ports. Plenty of lights in here, but the blinds are kept down, so the wood is rich. The master head up forward there, again granite, different granites of the galley though. Lots of storage space, lots of hanging storage space and locker space. Drawers under the bed. Looks like he's got a Furuno navigation system there, so he can keep an eye on things when he's at anchor or off watch. Head and shower. Big, lots of headroom in these boats. Yes, lots of headroom. Matthew can even walk through the doorways without ducking. That's great. And again, all the woodwork, all the cabins are clean, tidy, and no odor. The boat has fans running all the time when it's here. Spent most of its time in Florida. The owner lives here in Florida. Spent a lot of time back and forth to the Bahamas. But you know, it doesn't. The wear and tear does not show on the boat. Okay, so let's head on up to the pilot house. Oh, I forgot to show you the pantry, where you've seen pantries before. If you step that way and look in, I'll show you this pantry. This gives you an example. So normally when somebody does a pantry or something, they line it with laminate and what have you. This has been done just the way the rest of the boat has, with teak. The cabinetry, the joinery is amazing. Lots of shelves, lots of space in there, all lit and beautiful. All right, we will head on up to the pilot house, where we're going to find Jay waiting for us, I think. Sorry about the cables, the Starlink, probably Starlink cables running through the door here.
Yes.
Okay, so what we didn't talk about before was the hours on the engine, but I think I mentioned it downstairs. 1,700 hours, right?
Yes.
On the 1276 down there.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about this pilot house, Jay?
Well, one thing that I want to point out right quick is that all of the cabinets have louvers for ventilation, because I believe it gets pretty warm underneath there with all that equipment running. So it's, yeah, the electronics, and that's great.
Lots of airflow?
Lots of airflow, yeah. The headliner material, blue suede.
Blue suede shoes.
I knew you were going to go there. One of the things that they did differently is that this panel is not vertical like on the 55, so that when you're sitting in the chair, you have a good square eye line to it.
Upwards.
Yes,
So
instead of being here.
It's clear that
There's many a times with my glasses on deliveries and training, I'm down here looking, but up here you can stand
they're
and see
facing
it.
you directly.
Yes, exactly. So
Nigel probably thought that through fairly thoroughly.
there's a pretty good chance of that. And the yacht controller is great, so that when you are pulling the anchor, you can go out there and be in control as if you're in the pilot house out running the anchor,
Right.
windlass. The we didn't cover the captain's cabin, but in James's video, he covers that cabin. But this one's different. It has a full bed in there, unlike 6309.
And it also has the shower, big
shower in the
high
head.
headroom shower up in the pilot house.
The handrails were added.
They look pretty beefy.
Yeah, beefy. I've heard that. So
They were, and all around the Portuguese bridge too.
yes, and that was something that while Nigel was at the yard, they added it as they were walking through, finding things, adding things. 2015 15-foot tender with a 90-horse outboard, and this will run amok at wide open.
The wind blew the cover off. It wasn't us.
Yes, we
will put it back.
real hefty,
But
beefy. Davit. It definitely will get the job done. Awesome,
Nice
beefy stand to hold it in place
Alright,
for you.
That's enough of beefy.
And if you want more beefy, see the 64 video.
So on the last video that we did on a 63, it only had the starboard station. This boat has, and the reason it only had starboard is because it has Morse control. This boat has MMCs, Mathers Micro Commanders. So it has a port side station, a starboard side station, hydraulic controls. You'll see the hydraulics when we get down to the engine room, start and stop, stabilizer control. Thruster controls there. And it does have that on the port side and the aft station when we get to the back of the boat. You see it down there. One of the things that Nigel wanted to add when the boat was being built was this port right here, and apparently, according to Jay, everybody decided they wanted that after they saw the first one. I've been told that this engine room door is right out of a 62. I don't know the story behind that, but apparently this is a Nordhavn 62 engine room door. I love this cabin. Laundry behind here, separate washer dryer. Probably don't need me to show you that, but there you go. And then in here is an extra freezer as well. Lots of storage outboard there, shelves. And this bed is fantastic. It's in the middle of the boat. It's down low. If you're not feeling great, this is the place to be. All right? And into the engine room we go. One of my favorite places on the boat. And what greets us? A 1276. I feel, and many agree with me, that the 1276 is probably the best engine that Nordhavn put on any one of their boats. There's a 68 that has a 1276 in it. They used it in the 62, they used it in the 57, they used it in the 55, 60, 63s. If you were lucky enough to get one, you're lucky enough. Look in that bilge. There aren't many bilges that you could eat your dinner off like that. I know Mark has some input into that bilge. The ventilation in this engine room is fantastic. They were good anyway on the 63s, a vast improvement over some of the older Nordhavns, the older models. Nigel's obviously increased some of the airflow in here by hanging that big fan. It appears that he switched out his aluminum emergency bilge pump to a bronze one. When I see that somebody went the extra half mile or spent the money to put bronze in, it tells me something about that owner. I already know something about this owner. He does things right. When you walk into a 60 or a 55 or a 63 and you see all this array of hoses on the port side bulkhead, you immediately know that it's a hydraulic boat. Hydraulic boat driven, the hydraulics driven by the wing engine, by the main engine, talked about it in the previous video. This one is a little bit different because that boat was electric, but this one is different. I haven't seen this before. Mark Welsh is at the back of the engine room back there. Say hi.
Hello.
And Mark was explaining to me that the owner put these isolation valves in. Well, most of the boats have a forward isolation valve these days, and that means that when you're not operating the bow thruster and you turn the thruster controls off, it shuts off the forward end of the boat. That way, if you have a leak or a problem up there, you can still run the aft end of the boat. This boat, Nigel added a forward isolation and an aft isolation valve. So, if you're underway and you've got a problem with your stern thruster or your bow thruster, you can switch off the bow or the stern of the boat, and that way you have only the hydraulics pressurized in the middle of the boat to run your stabilizers. So you continue to run your stabilizers even if you've got problems fore and aft. Hydraulics tank right here, generator, wing engine, Mark Welsh. Mark's got something to add to this, I'm sure. What have you been discovering down here, Mark?
I saw you pull the floorboard up as soon as you stepped on, as did I, and I'm like, how can this be? Well, I pulled them all up till I got back here, and the bilge is completely dry. Then I see this thing. Never seen one of these before. It is the arid bilge system. It's just got a little pump, 24 volt, and it's got two pickup lines. Can you see these really small? I mean, they're like 1/8 of an inch. One's running to the forward bilge, lowest point, and one's running to the aft bilge. And it senses water through pressure. So if it's just sucking air, it's not much pressure. As soon as that pressure changes, resistance, it starts pumping. That bilge is completely dry. And as a result, there is zero smell. Zero.
Yeah. So on these boats, all of these boats have a pipe that runs down the full length of the boat from the bow to the stern. This one's no different. And that runs through that little section where we pulled the floor up in front of the engine, and I don't know if you noticed, but there's a hose that goes down in through the grate there. So Nigel actually has one of those arid bilge suction hoses going right down into the pipe that runs the length of the boat. So that's dry too.
Yeah, doesn't replace the bilge pumps, but
no.
For as far as keeping it
maintenance, it's for maintenance and keeping the smells down, keeping the boat dry.
But I will point out that the zip ties are not cut quite as tight as you like them. So if you want to get Nigel a Christmas present, maybe get him some of your special pliers that we're not allowed to touch.
Flush cuts. Get him a pair of flush cuts. Oh no, maybe Nigel will see this and will know what's coming. All right, I want to show you inside this generator briefly. I did look in this a minute ago, and it always, when I'm passing a generator, I can't help myself but to take the side off like this and have a look, because it sort of tells you how somebody looks after their boat. And this one is to be as expected, is nice and clean. Okay, we will head back into the lazarette. Now I know that people like my videos because I balance it out with what I like and what I don't like. Obviously there are things that I don't like about all the boats. There's no perfect boat out there. This is, I'm trying to sell this boat, so I'm not going to say bad things about it, but we stand behind it. If you want to know what I don't like about 63s, you probably want to watch my other 63 video. The bottom line is they're great boats. They're very capable. I don't think I've ever met anybody that had a 63 that didn't love their boat. This boat is loaded. Again, it is the first one. It had a lot of time, thought, and effort put into it, and it shows. 2 water makers. This is the backup. The other water maker is up in the bow. We didn't go down there, but it's all nice and clean down there. It's got a dive compressor in the starboard aft side of the lazarette over there. It's got a second generator, a little 9 kW. It has upgraded Victron energy inverters and starter battery chargers, and recently Nigel put in MG lithium batteries. We had a meeting yesterday with the people from MG, and we're going to be doing an MG system on another boat soon. We like MG. We're going to go with that as our standard, I believe. The solar panels up on the top were another big improvement that Nigel put on during COVID, and it makes a big difference, a big difference to the amount of time that you can spend at anchor. He loves to be over in the Bahamas. I mentioned that before. When he's at anchor, you know, the generator runtime is minimized. You know, I could make this a lithium battery video. We don't really want to say that, but it is a vast improvement over liquid lead acid or AGM batteries for a number of reasons, which we can talk about later. All right, I think we've covered everything in here. Pretty much chilled water air conditioning system. The chillers are back here. We've got 2 of them, and you can access everything. I mean, I know it seems a little cramped in here on video, but you can crawl around the back side of the generator, get to the steering. You've got oil tanks back there as well. I didn't mention before, but there's a waste oil tank and a new oil tank back there, which is something you don't see on 63s very often. Yeah, I mean, he's thought it all through. All right, let's climb out of here and we'll wrap it up in the cockpit. I can't get over how shiny the fiberglass is. Everywhere you look, the fiberglass and the gel coat is in really super nice condition. Of course, the woodwork and everything is covered, so that's nice too. The table is not varnished. That is a teak grating. Okay, teak grating under there. And sorry about my mess back here. We were just having a late lunch. But one thing that you do get when you have, as I mentioned in the Portuguese bridge, when you have a Mathers Micro Commander, electronic controls, you can put controls all over the boat. So we have an aft control station here for backing into the slip. thruster controls, no steering in there, but and I think that just about covers it. There is one last thing that we wanted to talk about and let you know. This boat popped up on the market about the same time as several other 63s did, and the one thing to consider with this boat is not only is it aggressively priced, we feel, but it is duty paid. It's duty paid in the US. It was duty paid when it came in. It is not subject to the tariff, which means you can fly an American flag on the back of it. And if you want more information on that, you should probably call us and talk to us about it. But it is built in China and subject to the tariff that was imposed by Donald Trump, right?
Correct.
So this boat came in before that happened, and that duty would not be payable. That is a big ticket, 26.5%. So anyway, I'm James, this is Jay, this is Mark. What do you got for me?
You mentioned hull number 1. Did you talk about
A couple of times.
the build?
Yeah.
Time?
Yeah.
We're at 4 minutes and 58 seconds.
5:23.
Okay, good.
Did we keep
And
it
Matthew.
under what?
No, it's
So I don't know where we are time-wise, but that was just a brief walkthrough, not what we all used to, but the boat's for sale. I'm not always around. I just came into town because I've been on the West Coast. Mark and Jay are on the East Coast. You can call any one of the three of us if you're interested in this boat. Matthew behind the camera, thank you. Yacht Tech, look forward to seeing you.